So good morning again, class. I'm now discussing the HTML table tag. So as I've mentioned, I want to create a table with two columns. Okay, so this is my best practice. I don't immediately type the data. First, I go for the table structure. So let's say I'll first show to you what we'll need. So let's say I need the customer name. Okay, but you have to separate it. There should be a last name and a first name. So let's say that's what I'm going to ask. All right. So I start with the last name, and then the first name. It's also helpful in the database if you have a middle name. Then maybe we can have chosen pet if it's a dog, a cat, or what. No? And the breed, someone said breed. Okay. Then just to make it quick, let's say the price or to make it better, cost. Okay. Or also one more thing, quantity. Like how many dogs, how many cats, right? So look, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that means 7 table rows, right? So what I'll do, I'll copy this. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. And then, oh yeah, I forgot. I want a table header. Okay, later, let's fix the table header. And then this will be, so I'll type this. I'll cut this and put it here. And this one too. Just a minute. Let's move this. So I'll also move customer first name to the next column. This one. And the customer middle name. We need the middle name because it helps us identify the customer better. And then we have the breed. And last, we have, no, not last, second to the last, we have quantity. How many dogs or cats? Last is the cost. Okay. So maybe one more. We need the unit cost, unit price. Okay. So this one, like per dog, unit cost or unit price. Okay. And then this is the cost or the price. Okay. So just to make it different. So let's save this. Let's check how it works in our, where is it? Customer page. Here. Okay. Let's open it. Okay. So as you can see, because I have a blue dark color, this is the effect, no? So just to make it simpler, let me go back to the code. I won't change the, oops, I won't change the background color anymore. Oh, one more thing. Can you remind me later? I'll teach you how to choose a different background color. Okay, so let's say, can we have a table background color? Subukan nga natin. You can always explore. Let's say if I, just to check, if this is white, will it work? Ayun, so it's working. Okay. And you can also add BR over here, break, line break. Maybe two line breaks. check if it's working. Ayun. Okay. And can we align it? Let's see if it works. Yeah, it works. Okay. So, yun lang. Now, later, so I won't go through too much detail about having it centered or no. Kasi I just want to show it to you what works and what you can do. No? But for now, let's keep it at the left. Okay. So, I did not use yet the TH. Okay. How do we use now the TH? Anyone? Sabi nila they have TH. Oh, sige. Let's check. If this becomes TH, tingnan nyo natin. If I have a TH, ayun. This is how it works. So let's check nga. Does it work? Then para lang you'll know, this is table heading. Just for your information. Let's see how it works. Yon. Okay. It's a table heading. But then there's also, instead of table heading, yan, that's table heading. There's also caption. Let's check nga if it will work. What is the difference? Okay, yon. Caption, lalabas siya sa table niya. You understand? But for table heading, ayan, that's for table heading. I'm sorry, that's for caption. Teka, namali. Let me change it. So this is the caption. If you want to use the caption, it works like this. Ayan. It's at the top of the table. Okay? But if you want a table heading, you have to do it like this. So let's say you want to say fill in the needed information. So I use TH. And aside from this, I don't know if you've heard of call span. Hi, are you still there, class?
Yes po.
You remember call span, column spanning? Ayun. Okay. So look, what happened was with call span, it merged the two cells or the two table data. Yan lang, okay? So, later na nyo na lang siya pagandahin. For now, let's go for functionality. So, next, I want to, so I will put this at the bottom so it's easier. Okay, there. So, I now have another TD, diba? Table data. So, we'll need to use now, if you remember, there's the input type. Remember this? Input type, there's a text box, right? And you have a name. Hi, you still there? You remember
Yes,
this,
ma'am.
class? Okay, so let's say this is, oops, sorry. Okay, so let's say this is last name. So we'll just use last name. Okay, and then save it. Let's see how it works. Okay, there you go. So I can type something here. Okay, that's the text box. So I just copy paste this, Control C, and then just fix the, remember the alignments using the tab. Okay, over here. Yan. So you can copy paste this actually. So from here, pwede actually to eh, para mas madali. Yan. So I'm trying to save time. So copy. So 1, I'll replace it with that. 2, 3. Okay. So the customer, and always make sure to save customer first name. So change this to first. And then this is middle name. And then change the name as well. Okay, let's check how it looks. Ayan. So I have 3 text boxes now. Okay. Now let's go for chosen pet. Now for the chosen pet, I'll also make this, copy paste it. Okay, chosen pet. So now what I'll do is instead of so do you still remember instead of a text box, let's say you want to use, what else? You want to use a checkbox or an option. Anybody who remembers yung I want to click only, kunyari if it's cat or dog or yon, checkan ko lang or I can use someone is chatting, I think. Let's check. Saka, for those who would like to learn more, wala, yung kanina pala yan. For those who would like to learn more, you can always double check. Did your prof in WebDev 111 inform you there's W3 schools? Can you see my screen, class? Hi. Hello.
Yes po.
Yes, ma'am.
Ayan, good.
Yes po.
Sige. So you can click this, no? There's W3 schools, HTML tutorial, so that you can, maybe your professors taught you this, diba? So if you'd like to learn about, like here, tables, you can just double check in w3schools.com because like I'm trying to review you, you have learned this already, I believe, no? No, so that's where you can get, table header. And then what if you will need now the header, the tag for, let's get the tags there. So if you need the tags, they're here also. And the good thing is that you can even try it yourself. Like here, if you want to click try it yourself, yan, it will redirect you. Redirect means it will show or transfer you to another web page. And here you can see that it's using cascading style sheets. Okay, but anyway, this is an example here at the bottom. Let's say instead of person 1, let's say student 1, diba? If I want to edit it immediately and then run, okay, so do you see it? It says student 1 now at the top over here. Okay, you see that it worked? Hi.
Yes po,
Hello?
ma'am. Nakikita po namin.
So did your professor inform you about this before? Not yet. Sige. Anyway, if not yet, then now you know. Just go to w3schools.com and then practice, no? Kasi I know we're trying to conserve data rin. Some are using mobile data. So at your own pace, you can review. Okay? So that's where you go. Now, what if I want to try something else? Okay, like I said, I want to use control. So just close this. And then go to HTML forms. So let's look if they have forms, or because there's also Ayun, there's HTML forms. That's the next step, what I'm going to show to you. What I'm already doing is I'm already at the form elements. So you can see my screen, class, I suppose. You can see my screen. Hi.
Yes, ma'am, kita po.
Very good. So now I already displayed or demonstrated text. The next step, because I want to ask you, am I going too fast or just right? Okay
Sakto lang
lang
naman
ba?
po.
Sige. The next step, because I'm now moving to radio buttons. Ayan, that's the radio button syntax. Input type radio. And then later, I also want you to try input type checkbox. And then there's also the drop down list box. Let me check if it will show us. Wala pa siya. Okay, button lang. Sige, maybe as we go on. Here. API na. Well, anyway, those are some of the HTML forms. Sometimes they deprecate a certain tag. Ayan. So there's more. No, you can actually explore, and the form elements are here. Ayun. So actually, it's called, ayan, mayroon ng select. Okay, that's what I was going for. So what is select? And this is what you can also do. I'm choosing select. So let's run it. Ayun. So like, choose a car, Volvo. I don't know how to pronounce it. Saab, Fiat, Audi. Okay, and then submit. Ayun. So that's what I was going for. There's a drop-down list box, which we call select in HTML. So let me go back to the code. Okay, so I'm going for, let's say I want to, I need one more, just a minute. Okay, so what I'll do for the chosen pet, let's use, okay, so instead of text box, we're gonna choose, let's say, radio. Okay, and then this will be chosen pet. By the way, never use a blank for 2 words, no, because you may get an error. And then you need, of course, the options. Okay, so like, let's show to you again this. So you have the HTML forms, diba? I hope I'm helping you remember. So you have HTML forms. And remember, if you're going to use the radio, there has to be, okay, let's go for radio, this one. So take note, it has to be that you're selecting only one option, okay? We're selecting one of many options. But for checkbox, you're selecting 0 or many choices, okay? Unlike radio button, you only can select one. And then for the syntax, let's go for radio, this one. So for the radio button, look at its example here. You have input type radio, then you can have name, then value. Okay? You even have ID, no? But for now, you can just use, so input type radio, input type radio, and then name, and then value. And now we need to invoke the form tag, because it will not work if you don't use the form tag. So on that note, let me clear. So remember, name and value. We need the input name, input type, name, and value. Okay. So in that case, we have to use also the form. So saan natin siya ilalagay? Okay. What if I use it here? Form. Inside the form is the table. Ganon. Let's check later. Na? So the point is you have to make sure the form tag is already present. Next. So let's go to input type radio. Okay. So that means I have a name. And what's the other one, class? I have a diba? Hi. Are you still there?
Yes, ma'am.
So take note, I'll show to you something, mag-error kasi siya if you don't have a value. Example, dog. Oops, sorry. Let's say dog. Okay, so let's use another one. Let's say this is cat. Do you want a pet snake? I remember I know somebody, he had a pet shark. Kunyari shark. Sige, let's check what will happen to our... Yan. So look, you will have 3 radio buttons, but you still need to put a caption. So just copy this one. And where do you want to put them pala? Syempre, after the radio button. Ganon. This is just an example, no? It's not every day you have pet sharks. I believe they're endangered species, so you cannot buy sharks just for fun lang. So you see? So now let's check if it's working. If I select dog, can I still, ayan, look, it's working, di ba? I only can select one. Okay? This is what some newbie programmers do. They do this, kunyari, dog, tapos ito, kunyari, cat. Dito sila nag-error. O kunyari yung isa chosen na, F5. So look what's gonna happen, ha? Okay, you see, guys? You understand, class? Hi.
Yes po, ma'am.
So please be careful. Your radio button name should not be different. Dapat they're the same. Okay? So, kaya puro chosen pet. What will differ is the value. Okay na tayo done. So now, any questions about the radio button? Hi. Questions?
None po, ma'am.
None? Okay.
All
Thank you
clear.
for the response, Alex. Now, I'll go for the breed now. Okay. So for the breed, this time I want to use select. Ay, wait lang. Just a minute. Quantity. No. Yun doon na lang sa ano bang maganda dito. Sige, let's use select. Parang maganda dito select. Later na lang yung checkbox. So remember, I want to show to you, you can have the W3 schools, no, as your reviewer, so to speak. So go for, the one that I was looking for was select. So it's in, let's try it again. Yeah, it's a form attributes. Oh, sorry, form elements. Can we check? Ayun. Okay. So we go to select this one. Okay. So for select, that's the drop down list box. This is how it will work. Try it yourself. Ayan. Diba? So what I need now, remember, I need first the select tag and then a name. Then this time I have option value. Okay, and then the caption. Okay, so let's try it. So remember a select and the name option value. Let's go back to the code. Okay, so this is select. Oh, just a minute. Something. Okay, remember this. Remember, you don't use input anymore. It's already select. So this time, you don't need input. This becomes select. And then name, breed. So this is for the first one. Okay. Now, the label here is that you have select, then name, no? But then, after that, take note, it's not select anymore, but option value. So this has to go. And you need a tab. Option. Take note, there's the option. Next, I need the value. So no name, huh? Your name is already select. So value could be, so give me a breed. Let's say for now, ayun nga pala guys, because this is not yet dynamic. We're still in HTML, no? So for now, let's just choose a pet. Let's say Chihuahua. Did I spell it correctly? Chihuahua. Anyway. Kindly double check, Gwyn, ha, kung tama yung spelling ko. Chihuahua ba or Chihuahua? I don't know. Then the other one. Give me another breed, guys. A Pomeranian.
Golden Retriever, ma'am.
Sige. Unahin na natin yung yan. Sige, kahit
Tama.
3. Yeah? Tama ba?
Opo.
Thank you, Gwyn. Okay, now look. I'll be going back to customer. Okay, so see, look at what happens if we have an error. What if I click breed? Ayun no, look at what happened. What's wrong with this? Okay, so that's why it's really trial and error. Now, what happens is I don't have the caption. So you put a caption. Let's check if it's working. Okay, let's try the caption. Ayun, diba? So here's Chihuahua, Pomeranian, Golden Retriever. Okay, so we're still in static websites, no? Kaya ganyan pa siya. Next, quantity. Okay. Just for quantity, just a minute, no? I want to add one more so we can try the checkbox. Okay. So quantity later na. Quantity, let's put which do you want class, which control? No, wala kayong sige. You can actually ito. This is when there's often what we call user error kasi tina-type, no? So because this is still static websites that when you're using HTML, you cannot put input validation. Wala pa kayong is numeric function. So what you do, I suggest you can use radio, pero better yet, there's the drop-down list box. Pwede rin, no? So you can use this. Let's just copy, recycle the code. Okay. Ayan. So, quantity. For now, I'll just use 3, up to 3 na lang muna na. You can have more. Okay, so there you have 1, 2, or 3. Ganyan. To avoid human error. Syempre, you have to check your stocks, no? The stocks of the client. Then we go for unit price. Syempre, input type na yon. Kasi there has to be computation. So I'll just recycle code again. Make it quick. Okay, this becomes unit price. Yan. So, for now, gamitin na lang natin. Sige, para lang meron tayong checkbox. Although this is not advisable, no? I mean text box. Ayan. Tapos, for the host, text box na din. Okay. Cost. So, input type should be, this should be unit price. This should be cost. Let's check if it's working. Okay, then you choose one. Yan. Here you cannot accept text, right? But because, as I said, this doesn't have input validation yet, it accepts it. Okay? So like, let's say gray, Catriona, Smith. Then let's say unit price, let's say 4,500. It's 2, so 9,000 example. No? Then you can just put the PHP at the cost. To signify its Philippine pesos. Let's check. Yan. So that, yan, you can say it's in Philippine pesos. Something like that in Philippine pesos. Or you can put there in pesos. Kasi I see during defense, there are some who do not put the currency. Okay? In Philippine pesos, example. Example lang. Although you don't see that often. Yan. So sana you have something like that. Now you signify if it's what the currency is. Okay? Yan, something like that. Okay? Next is, this time it's going to be your turn. So let's, oh yeah, one more thing, the checkbox. And I want to show to you one more papala. So let's say, diba, I have the cost. This is the, let's say, the registration, diba? Actually, nagsama yung order page. But anyway, just for the purpose of using the form elements. Now, what if I want to use the checkbox? Okay, like maybe you can have here other, if you have other interests. So after TR here, let's go for option, this one, input type, radio. I'm gonna use this. recycle code. So we have the cost, but then I'll have just for the purpose of having the checkbox. See, I added another one. Other interests or interested, yeah, other interests. So this becomes a checkbox. Remember look at this. So you have your form elements, right? So for HTML forms, the basic form elements, you have the checkbox. So, yan. So I hope you can see the screen. Yan. This is the checkbox. So remember, you put the tags, input, and then the attribute type, and then name and value. Okay. So like if you want to try it, okay. So it will be like this. Ayan. Okay. So you can put it one by one per row, or you can put it side by side. It's up to you. Okay. So you need the input type, name, value, and afterwards, actually some they don't even use label. So you have the same as the radio button. So again, input type, name, and the value attributes. So this becomes checkbox. So let's say other interests. So name, let's say, what do you want to buy? Crocodile. And then let's just copy paste this. Do you want a crocodile pet, class? For those who want a crocodile pet, can you please chat in the chat box? One. Uy, may nag-chat. Gusto nila. Sige, good luck. Ano yun? Lolong, no? Anyway, kidding aside, so let's change. Oops, naging crocodile tuloy. So let's change this now. So I'll copy paste this. And this also. Okay. And instead, others maybe that you want, let's say, let's have a bird, a parrot. For example, you want a parrot. Just for the sake of using a checkbox. And then let's say tarantula. Dapat pala mga ano. Sige, example lang naman. So they can check as many as they like. Let's check if it's working. Let's go to the customer registration page. So it should allow us to check yon. Okay? So yan. So, and it's working yan. So that's the difference between the checkbox and the radio button. Now, what if you're, di ba, like when you use Shopee, di ba, or Lazada, who among you here have tried Shopee or Lazada? Give type 1 in the chat box. Wala pa masyado. Anyway, when you use, ayun, meron din. So, when you use, thank you for, ayan, si Hazel, Jan Vincent. When you're using Shopee, di ba, they also ask you for feedback. Okay, so let's check again. Let me close this. Here. So, form elements. Sometimes you also need remarks, di ba? Feedback from your end users. So if that's the case, let me just enlarge this. There you go. Just a minute. Okay. Okay. So as I was saying, if I want feedback from the client, the customer, there's what you call text area. So for text area, yeah, this one. So all you got to do is use text area tag, attributes name, rows, calls. That's simple. And then close it. So again, text area, name, rows, calls. Meaning rows, of course, the number of rows. Columns is what call stands for. Okay, so text area, name, rows, calls. Let's go back to the code. Let's try that once more. Okay, so text area. So here you can ask for comments, sample comments. So you just need text area, name. This is gonna be rows. And we have one more, calls. Okay, so we don't need this anymore. And I'll just close. Oh, we have to change this example, comments. And how many rows? Let's say, why not maybe four, let's say 5 at the max. Calls. Let's see how many columns. Let's say I just want one column. And let's copy this. Let's check if it's working. So this is how it works. If you just use one calls, I want to show to you it's a simple. Yan, ganyan siya kaliit, no? It's too tiny, no? So that's why most people, they put more. So let's try 10. Yan, this is 10. Okay, so that's 10. If you want more, you can always increase the columns. I like this. And so you can type more. Okay. So like if you want to say the dog barks and they are and it is healthy. Example. Yeah. So that's for the comments. All right. Okay. So I'll stop screen sharing.